Hello, how's it going? Welcome back. How are y'all doing? I hope you guys are doing good, man. We're gonna go ahead and hop right into the reading. As per usual, we're going to be doing the astrology portion first. If you don't want to see the astrology portion, I'm going to timestamp in the comment section below, so that way you can just go straight to the tarot portion. But that said, I'm going to have the charts and the transits right next to me, and we're going to go ahead and step into this energy today. So, if you take a look at the transit chart, I am very drawn to at the bottom we have Lilith trining Chiron, and if you take a look at the moon, we have the moon conjunct Neptune, and we also have the moon sextile Pluto, but I'm more so drawn to Mercury conjunct Uranus, moon conjunct Neptune, and Lilith trining Chiron. So my whole thing with Lilith, if you guys have seen some of the past videos I've talked about, that to me has to do with the dark feminine energy. Essentially, it feels like the shadow side. I kind of relate that to your shadow elements, maybe just kind of your shadow elements of your feminine nature. But with this energy here, Neptune being the planet of psychic awareness, spiritual abilities, and just overall ethereal energy, and Uranus being the planet of creativity and essentially, I don't know, the indomitable spirit of creation through human ingenuity is what I'm hearing. But I feel like there's like this fear of being afraid of how you're being perceived. I feel like this is an energy where if you're stepping into a creative space and you're putting yourself out there in the world, there's a little bit of fear about how that's being received by other people, right? And I feel like that has a lot to do with how you have been in your feminine energy in the past, and that has been, I don't know, received a certain way. You've been treated a certain way. You've been taken advantage of during times when you've been in your feminine energy, very caring and nurturing, and I don't know, just a very overall loving person to yourself and other people. But the fact that we have pressure between the moon and Neptune, I feel like there's like a sense of heightened spiritual awareness, and there's almost like a disconnect between what your intuition is telling you and what you're feeling. And the thing about Neptune is it moves through planets every, I want to say, like about 12 years or so. And so right now Neptune is in Pisces. And the moon is actually currently in Pisces, so there's a really deep, watery energy to this, right? Pisces, I see Pisces as a very creative energy. I see it as very intuitive. There's a lot of depth to Piscean energy, but it can also be very self-sacrificing in the detriment, right? And so we're looking at the conjunction between Moon and Neptune, both in Pisces. Neptune's going to be in Pisces for another 2 years, and then it's going to start moving into Aries. I think it's going to be retrograde for a little bit in 2025, and then it's going to go and make another 12-year trek through Aries, starting the cycle again. So we are at the end of a very massive Neptunian cycle. And I feel like the reason I'm being drawn to this is because, as a collective, we are really tapping into our spiritual abilities. I mean, a lot of us in this community and other communities, and just as a whole, there's a lot of people really getting in touch with their spiritual nature, and that's going to look different for everybody. All right, but for us today and in this energy, there's a really big energy of essentially finding ways to express yourself creatively. That's what it feels like. It's like utilizing your intuitive abilities, improving upon your own spiritual abilities, and integrating your divine feminine energy, regardless of gender, to be able to step into a more powerful creative space. And if you guys remember, I think it was the last reading, but even for this reading today, we had the Sun conjunct Jupiter and the Sun sextile Saturn. So we have stress between the Sun and Jupiter, Sun being in Aries right now, Jupiter also being in Aries. And so there's this very combative energy between what we're experiencing in the world and how we feel it's almost just energy of like how you feel your blessings are being received by other people. Is kind of what it feels like. And I feel like that's where this whole perception of how we're being perceived by stepping into these new paths and new timelines, because Sun conjunct Jupiter, like the world and our blessings, and also Moon conjunct Neptune, and then Moon sextile Pluto. And so there's this really big, like, unseen energy, all this really deeply watery energy. Remember, Pluto is also in Pisces, right? And so it's this really, it is in Pisces, right? I always do this every time. It is definitely, no, it's in Aquarius. I'm so sorry. It's gonna go into Pisces at some point, but it is in Aquarius. And so that's essentially like this really deep, shadowy aspect of what it's like you're doing things differently. It's like I'm picking up on this energy too, where it's like you're doing things differently. You're doing things in a way that other people haven't seen before. And there may not be a lot of people that are essentially speaking to you about that. I don't know. It's almost something where, like, I feel like you want some sort of recognition. You want people to essentially validate you in the new things that you're doing and assure you that you're making the right decisions and you're doing the right things, and because that's where you're feeling guided, right? And so I feel like that's why we're seeing this conjunction between Moon and Neptune, because it's like this really deeply spiritual aspect of your experience right now, and it's super connected to your emotional world. And keep in mind, like, I see Lilith as the flip side of the moon. So I see the moon and Lilith as like very interconnected. That's the way I feel that energy, right? And so it's like this energy where it really just feels like you're, even though you know what you're doing is right for yourself, you're still questioning whether other people see it that way. And I feel like that's kind of what we're working through, and especially with Lilith trine Chiron. Remember, we mentioned that in the beginning of the video. And just as a quick recap, conjunctions, stress between energies, sextiles, energies working together, still remaining separate, trines, energies working together but kind of melding. We're not really talking about too many squares today, but squares are also like a stress between energies. It's like there's like a breaking point, is how I feel with that energy. But the fact that we have Lilith trining Chiron, Chiron being the wounded healer, being the energy of your wounding, Lilith being the dark feminine, those two energies are coming together to allow you to transmute that pain into a new creative endeavor. It's a very creative energy with all this Pisces watery energy we have going on right now, mixing with the Aries energy that we have with the Sun and Jupiter. And it's almost like, I feel like we're in this pot full of water, and the water is boiling and it's starting to percolate and bubble, and we're slowly but surely, it's like an energy transmutation process where that water, due to the pressure of the heat from Aries and, well, essentially the Sun and Jupiter in Aries, all of that heat is essentially pushing us to, like, that water is now turning into steam. It's a transmutation process. And so I feel like there's this huge, again, energetic process of us taking all of this, all of this wounding from our, I guess you can call it, not damaged feminine energy, but the wounded feminine energy, taking all of that wounded energy, transmuting it, healing it, and channeling it into something positive in your life. That was a bit longer of a astrology portion. I didn't even know really what I was going to talk about. I was like sitting here for a while, I was looking over all the transits, and I was like, well, how can I turn this into something that makes sense? Because there's a lot of transits sometimes do last for certain periods of time, so there are some transits, and there's a little bit less going on today than usual. But yeah, we just channeled a bunch of different stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and hop into the tarot portion. Gonna timestamp that below just in case you don't want to sit through it. Yeah, so let's go and hop in. If you want to book a personal reading, listen to the extended videos, or watch or listen to my music, all of that's in the description. I do just want to say that I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be doing videos every single day. I wanted to give it a shot and see how I manage with it. I like doing videos every day, but I'm noticing that it's just a lot for me sometimes to be able to, do videos that frequently, along with doing extendeds for those. Like, I do have other things that I have to manage, and so I'm trying to find a way for me to balance all of that. So if I'm posting less, it's not because I don't want to post, but because I'm trying to find a balance between taking care of myself, working on the music that I need to work on, and also doing these videos. So just in case you're wondering, like, if I don't post for like a day, or maybe like, I don't know, like a day, maybe 2 days, mostly just probably like a day. But we're going to hop in, man. We're going to be using the what do you call this? The Ethereal Visions Tarot. I don't know if you guys can see, I have my tarot boxes neatly stacked. I got a nice new design going there. But yeah, let's hop into it now. Let's see what we have coming out today. Only thing I channel. So I was channeling something today. Bottom of the deck we have the Hierophant. Right. I'm just gonna say it because I didn't think it really meant much. I was channeling cheese wheel and the process of making cheese. I just stopped after I just started laughing. I was like, I'm just gonna hop into the reading because this is just funny. So maybe that means something to you, the process of making cheese. And the whole thing about making cheese is it starts from milk, right? It starts from milk from a cow, or if it's vegan cheese, like probably a slop of chemicals. Anyways, let's just start with the cards. So we have Strength. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Three of Cups. See, I figured out how to make it focus. We have the Hermits. I don't think we've gotten this card on stream yet. I don't know why I called it stream. On stream. You know, it's really interesting. I just noticed the Hermit has a little skull chilling right there. Let's see. We have the Devil. And Ace of Wands. And then the Seven of Wands. Okay. So, overall energy today is the Hierophant. To me, this card, while it is traditions and all that kind of stuff, it feels to me like a portal of opportunity. That's the way I see this card, the way it comes out to me. The way they design this card looks like a window of opportunity, a portal to another world. The fact that we have this star here in the center, and then we also have the Hermit here, who is holding a star, the star, or is this is more like a tetrahedron, is it not? Yeah. So this is essentially like it's like the Merkaba. So if you know anything about, I guess, Egyptian mythology, the Merkaba stands for the light body, mind light body. I can't remember how, there's like Merkaba, they all have their Egyptian words that mean essentially the vessel in which you use to traverse the dimensions, if you want to get into that. And I feel like this is you being in that very deeply spiritual space. Exactly what we talked about. And the fact that we have the Devil here with Strength, and I'm just going to take a look at those. We have the Devil and we have the Hierophant and we have Strength. Okay? And so I feel like this is you essentially needing to tap into your strength. But I feel like more than anything, it's like I feel like you're being very courageous against things or people that may be trying to keep you down. I feel like there may be, it just kind of feels like there's somebody or a group of people, whether this is friends or family, or even just an institution. This could just be societal expectations, almost trying to keep you in a space of feeling like what you're doing isn't right. But that's subjective. I feel like you're stepping into this space where you're doing things that you may be the first in your family to do a particular type of career path, or maybe you're the first in your family to really step into this spiritual awakening process. And I mean, we're lucky now, you know, because we have a lot of different people that are going through this stuff, and there's a lot of access to different content online to be able to guide us. But at the same time, the fact that there is so much, I feel like everybody's path is so different that it can get very convoluted. So it's up to you to use your intuition here to be able to determine which information makes the most sense to you, because it's going to be different for everybody. But aside from the point, I feel like you're starting something new. And I feel like this has to do with career. This could be in a relationship, but I feel like there's just maybe a group of people around you that, it's interesting. I'm picking up on a couple different things. I'm picking up on this energy where there's like people around you that really want to protect you. But this also feels like spirit guides too. This feels like spirit guides almost, maybe like ancestors. it's just kind of what I'm picking up on. I feel like you have some sort of spiritual team that is essentially protecting you through this process of starting this new endeavor. I don't know why I said it like that, endeavor. This is you really starting something new. And this is you being on that new path and essentially just being willing to defend your spirituality. I know I keep being brought to the spiritual aspect, and this happened last reading too. It's almost like you feel like you need to defend yourself and defend your ideas against people who may be either triggered by it or just generally disagreeing with how you view the world. Alright, let's go and pull some more cards on this. I'd like to know, why are these people challenging collective here? What is going on with this? Why are people so very triggered? Oh. Okay, bottom of the deck we have Judgment. We have the King of Cups. This came out in the last reading. We have, what is this? The King of Pentacles. This also came out in the last reading. Interesting. And then we have the Nine of Cups, which also came out in the last reading. Remember, these three cards had to do with you being a little bit closed off. But the question here was, why are these people doing this? And I feel like that's because you're focusing on yourself. And you're not giving certain groups or people the same energy that you used to. But more than anything, I feel like because you're leveling up, it's almost creating a sense of separation with the people around you. Or it feels like it's creating a separation. I don't feel like there's actually a separation here. But I feel like there may be people who, again, I feel like there's just people who they rely on you in some way, or they have in the past, and you're not giving them that same. You're not giving them the same, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're really just focusing on yourself. Like, I feel like you're really building your life. Again, you're on this new spiritual path. You are in touch with your emotions. You are solid in your reality. You're solid within yourself. You know what you're doing. You have a plan. You're putting it into action. You're not getting advice from other people about it anymore. You're not taking other people's. You're taking other people's advice with a grain of salt, because you're a very powerful person. This person I'm reading for has been through so much, and I don't feel like it's just in one lifetime. I feel like this goes back over generations. This is ancestral. And I feel like this is you tapping into that ancestral abundance. And I feel like your ancestors, which I feel like why they're coming through in this reading, they're just here to let you know that you are supported on this path. Even though it's confusing sometimes, and even though it's a little scary, because you may not know where it's going to end up, but that's kind of the point. It's like taking the path less taken. Or there's a saying that I don't know if I'm saying it right. Right? And I feel like anybody that's really trying to get in your way is going to be facing their own judgment. Right? Like, there are, you know what? I'm actually seeing this as ancestral as well, because these people are essentially passed on. And if you look, there's people up here, and I feel like you have ancestors watching over you. I feel like you have spirit guides watching over you. You know, if that's not the case, if you don't resonate with that, this is essentially you utilizing the lessons from your ancestors. Essentially, even if this really depends on your beliefs, but this is essentially like, again, it just feels like ancestral abundance. I don't know how else to really put this. It's just very clear cut to me that by you standing up for yourself and standing up against people that were trying to keep you down, that's why you're getting these blessings too. Because it's like you've proven yourself to be able to maintain this type of status, or to maintain this type of responsibility. And the universe almost wanted to see if you can handle this type of energy in your life, so that way when you get bigger blessings, it's like the polarity, right? You know, you like when your light expands, your darkness also expands. And I feel like the same goes for our physical experience. And it's like by you stepping into this new space, it's like, what's the saying? New levels, new devils, or something like that. You know what I mean? And so it's like the old stuff may not be nearly as it may not get to you as much, but I do feel like there are still things that you need to essentially work on, and I feel like that has a lot to do with your confidence. And I feel like you're kind of regaining your confidence right now, right? Nine of Cups and King of Pentacles. You're regaining your confidence, you're trusting your emotions, you're trusting what you feel. And I don't feel like you're really being afraid of communicating that anymore. And I feel like this has a lot to do with that Moon conjunct Neptune energy. It's like the unseen and the emotional space. Technically, the emotional space would be considered Neptunian energy. It's unseen, right? It isn't, I mean, it's not concrete. It's abstract. Emotions are abstract, and not something we lay on the table and say, that is my emotion. You can say what you're feeling, but I feel like you're just figuring out a better way of navigating that, honestly. All right, let's go and get one more pull. Get some final advice. We're kind of running out of time. I'd like to get some advice on to how better to navigate this energy here. What's a way that you can essentially communicate these emotions a little bit better? Or what is it, like, what's a good way for you to regain your confidence? Like, anything that needs to come through for this energy, realistically. You have one card out. Okay, we have the Fool. You know, don't be afraid to take that risk. If you take a look at the Fool's umbrella, all the stars are up in the umbrella up here, right? So it's like, it just really feels like you're supported by the universe. It feels like you're supported not only by your guides, your ancestors in the universe, but the planetary transits are supporting you in this. Queen of Cups also came out. Right? I feel like you are a very intuitive person, and getting in touch with that and taking action from that space is going to be the way you reclaim that feminine energy. It's going to be the way you heal that feminine wounding. It's going to be the way you set boundaries with those people that may be trying to, you know, give you backhanded compliments or trying to treat you a certain way to make you feel like you aren't worthy or good enough, and that's just a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Has nothing to do with you. You're doing your thing. There may be people around you that don't like it or are triggered by it, but that is not your responsibility, right? All right, we're gonna do one more pull here. I just want whatever wants to come out for this, and then we're gonna close the reading. Okay, yep, got this last reading. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Page of Swords. Okay, bottom of the deck we have the Four of Cups. So I feel like the message with that, just off rip, even though there are those kinds of people, don't let that be the reason you don't accept new people. Also came out in the short message. Don't focus so much on everything that didn't work to where you don't see what can and will work, should you be willing to take that risk. I feel like there are new ideas. Ace of Pentacles, bottom of the deck. Okay, I don't think we've gotten this in this deck yet. So there are new opportunities coming in. There are major breakthroughs and blessings is what I'm feeling. Then we have Eight of Wands. This is you essentially taking action on that, man. Like, don't be afraid to put these plans to action, dude. It's like, I feel like that's kind of why there's that pressure between Moon and Neptune as well. It's like, it's really easy to have these really amazing ideas and all these great things we want to do, but if you don't put that into action, again, we do still have Chiron squaring Mars. We talked about that last reading. Not taking action from that wounded space, making sure that you're healing what you need to heal, but like being gentle with yourself in the process. You know, I feel like this can also be healing family wounding. It could be healing wounds from your parents. This could be healing wounds from past relationships. And essentially having compassion, forgiveness for yourself. That also came out in the short message. Forgiving the people who may have hurt you, understanding that those who have hurt you are only hurting you from a place of being hurt. Doesn't make what they did okay, but finding forgiveness and compassion in that is going to allow you to essentially, I feel like if there are any blockages, it has to do with the need to just let go of the past. Holding on too tightly to what has happened in the past is going to continue to manifest those same scenarios. I've had a personal experience with that as of late, where I needed to really forgive somebody who has hurt me on numerous occasions and disrespected me on numerous occasions. But I also know that this person has been through so much. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to find forgiveness. I'm not going to act or react in the same ways because I manifested something that I did not want to manifest. And I was like, okay. It was a very clear message from the universe that I need to change the way I'm viewing a situation and find forgiveness within myself, because if I don't, it's going to snowball and I'm going to continue manifesting those kinds of things. So I feel like that's just a message too, where it's like finding forgiveness for anybody and everybody who has hurt you, regardless, and not blaming yourself and not blaming them, and understanding everybody goes through their own struggles. That's what's going to clear these blockages for you, to allow you to be able to put these creative ideas into action. So last few cards, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and then we have the Page of Swords. And I feel like this is a need to protect your ideas. Don't be so willing to tell everybody everything. Just because somebody wants to know your plans doesn't always mean they have the best intentions, right? And I feel like as this wheel is turning, there may be people looking on and watching, and they're wondering, wow, how did you get to this point, Queen of Cups? How did you get so confident? How did you do this? I feel like it's almost like people have seen you go through so much, and now they're seeing that your blessings are now coming in. And I feel like there are people that want to know how and why you do what you do, and you're not obligated to tell them. I feel like it's almost this energy where, like, being very protective of your ideas and your blessings and your plans, keeping those plans to yourself. We've talked about this before as well, and just kind of just moving and working in silence, keeping your head up and doing what it is you need to do without letting these other people try to get in the way of that. Okay, I am running out of time, so we're going to do a closing message with the animal messages. I do not think I'm going to do an extended with this as well. I'm also trying to figure out a way for me to manage. Basically, I'm just trying to find a new groove, right? So I'm doing these videos more frequently, but I'm also doing the extendeds more frequently. And so I'm trying to, because I'm already watching myself get behind on extendeds, I know that I need to essentially pull back in both areas to be able to manage that, because there's like other areas in my life that I do need to like be able to focus on as well. And so I hope y'all don't take it personally, man. It really has nothing to do with y'all. I just have a lot I have to do. So I'm trying to manage it the best I can and still show up for you guys. So thank you for being understanding. Let's see, animal messages. We have panda. Bottom of the deck we have mouse. Mouse says, be persistent and incisive, and all obstacles will be overcome. We have parrots. Parrot says, let sunshine revitalize your soul and color transform your world. We have bear. Bear says, nurture creativity and return to the sweetness of life. And then panda. Enjoy the sanctuary of solitude and regain self-esteem and tranquility. Essentially everything we were just talking about, man. This is a time for you to essentially focus on your comforts, like making sure that you're taking care of yourself above all else, right? Making sure that you're getting what you need to be able to nurture your creativity. Nurturing your dreams and ideas, treating your dreams and ideas like it's like your child, right? And you want to take the time to really connect with these things. And I feel like that's kind of why there may be some of that pressure we were seeing today between the emotional space and the creative space. It's almost like I feel like you're being so hard on yourself about what you feel like you need to be doing that you're not giving yourself the space to enjoy what you've already manifested. And it's letting yourself enjoy all of these things, taking time to rest and taking time to regain your strength, regain your self-esteem and your confidence like we talked about, and essentially like just enjoying life to the best that you can, taking that time to really appreciate, to stop and smell the roses and just really appreciate the things that you do have. And that gratitude and living in that gratitude is what manifests more towards you. But that said, man, I'm grateful for y'all. I love y'all so much, actually. And I hope you guys enjoyed the reading, man. I hope it resonated. If it doesn't, don't force it. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. If you guys want to book a personal, see the extendeds or listen to my music, all of that is in the description. I'll never contact you in any way, shape, or form. The only way to book a reading is to DM me on Instagram or send me an email. But that said, I love you, and I will see you on the next reading. Okay, bye.